Good evening and welcome to Between the Lanes episode number 111. I'm Ron.
I'm Shane.
And we are here to talk slot cars. As soon as I find the button here. Ta-da! Welcome to Between the Lanes episode number 111. 11111. Find us on YouTube. Slot Racer is a channel. 111 episodes up. Some special episodes and some how-to videos. Find us on Facebook. Between the Lanes is the page. We have race results and the winning report. And before I go into the report following this one, I have no pictures for this first one, so I'm just going to do it now. Retro East was at Speed Zone Hobbies, Mount Holly, New Jersey. They raced GTC Coupes and Formula One retro cars. Big weekend for retro last weekend. So, in the Coupe class, Keith Libby was the overall winner. Jerry Herbert Jr. second. Jimmy Williams third. In Formula One, Keith Libby was the winner, pulling off the sweep. Jerry Herbert was second. Jerry Herbert Jr. So he pulled off the second place sweep. And Vinny Cafazzo came home third in Formula One. Rocky Mountain Retro Racing Association was at R&J Raceway in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. In stock car, Matt Sheldon was your winner. Justin Kill second. Rowdy was third. Can-Am, Matt Sheldon was the winner. A.J. Hoyt second. And Justin Kill third. And then F1, Alan Wilkinson was the winner. Justin Kill second. And Rowdy was third. And I think this is like the first time in 2 or 3, maybe 4 races that Matt Sheldon hasn't been on a podium. So it's kind of weird not to see his picture in a podium picture here. BRS, Buckeye Retro Series, was at Mark's Model World for the 9th Annual Retro Summit Race. In Can-Am, Bud Bardos was the winner. Ron Hirschman was second. And George Katakis, who won the B main, wound up finishing third overall with Dave Smirka was third in the A, but George ran more laps in the B than Dave did, so George got up on the podium. In F1, Ron Hirschman was the winner. Bud Bardos second. And Dave Smirka was third. And then in the new Retro Flexi class, which is like FNRS GTP cars except with those Retro Pro kind of wedgie bodies.
Right.
Dave the Shadow Smirka, 15B, Carl, he was the winner. Lonnie Batts was second, and Richard T was third. Retro Tokyo, Cheerio Speedway, Tokyo, Japan. Stock car, Kamo was the winner. Yuji was second. Haruki was third. And then Tibu, who's clear over on the right in the picture, was TQ. Can-Am, the winner was, can't read my notes, was, where are we at here? Maimori, Yuji was second. Haruki was third. And the gentleman to the right would have been TQ. I didn't write his name down. And then in F1, Tibu was the winner. Hyde was second. Octani was third. Mid-South was at Turn and Burn. Shane was there. 4-inch stock car, Bobby Beachman was your winner. Walker was second. Shane was third. And you were TQ. I know that.
Yep.
In GTP, Bobby was the winner again. You were second. Walker was third. 4.5-inch, Walker was the winner. Shane was second. Guy Spalding in third. And then in the LMP class, Bobby was the winner, winning 3 out of 4 for the day. Shane was second, and Russ Martin was third. And we'll talk some more about this when we go through all this. So the South African Grand Prix took place at Race World down in South Africa this past weekend. So I'm probably going to get confused here because, there was a lot going on at this race. I mean, experts,
I've seen some of the
pros,
posts.
juniors. So anyway, they ran 3 classes, and the first class up was the Play Fit class, which is you have to run a Play Fit chassis. You have to run a M25, I believe it's a JK motor, and you have to run retro Can-Am bodies from certain time periods. So the only odd body here would be the UP Shadow. But I think the rule said it had to be 1973 or earlier for the Can-Am. Like here in the States, we're always 69 and earlier. But so in that class, you got to go with me here because there's the chassis you have to run in the play fit. I think it's a part number 1700,
Look cool.
and those are JK M25 motors. The second class they run is called JK24. But you have to run a JK body, LMP, GTP, or GT1 sports style bodies. You have to run a JK chassis, and you can only run Hawk 7 JK motors. And then the last class would be the S24 class. I don't know what the S stands for, but you can run any stamp steel chassis. You can run like GTP bodies. You can run LMP bodies. You can see there's an LMP body in there, but
Yeah.
up to a GTP body. And this is kind of interesting because you have your choice of motors. You can run a Phoenix motor, a Hawk, any of the Hawk series motors, or the B52 sealed FK type motors. Or you can run mini motors, meaning like a JK Hawk 6 or a Pro Slot 4002 setup with up to an X12 arm in them. Or you can run a 16D or a Super 16D built-in motor. And that's the three classes. So they had like over 40 some guys there through the I don't know if we call this a week or weekend, because it's kind of weird because I know they finished yesterday, which was Tuesday, and I think they started racing on Saturday or Sunday or something. So not like a traditional race weekend.
Right.
So like I said, they had over 40 some.
They had some travelers too, because I seen they had some guys from all over.
Oh yeah, they had guys from all over. I mean, they had guys from England. They had guys from,
Right.
I think, one from Australia, and other parts of Europe. And I mean, yeah. So they had a good attracted a good field of drivers. So, so in the play fit, okay. So, and there's three driver classifications for each class. You got pro, expert, and junior. So they run a junior race for 16 and under drivers, and then they run an expert class, and all the international drivers, which would be drivers from other countries, they run in the expert class. And then there's what they call open. So that's where the pros run, and then any of the experts and any of the juniors can run in that open race. Okay, so in the play fit Can-Am class, I'll call it, they had 41 entries for the open race, and the top three overall was Peter, Gustav Heyman, and I think it's Kieran Patterson. I think that's how. So if I butcher anybody's pronunciation on these names, I'm just going with what I would say it is in English.
Sounding it out.
American.
Yeah.
So Peter was a winner. Gustav was second. Kieran was third. And that was in the pro portion. So the overall top three was these three: Peter Grover, Eamon Gustav, and Tyrone Hudson. Or maybe it's Tyron Hudson. So here it is. It's the open class, pros, expert, juniors. So Peter and Heyman are pros, and Tyron, I don't know how. We'll just say Tyron. So
Tyron.
Yeah, Tyron. I don't know.
Tyron. Yeah, I like Tyron.
So he's classified as a junior. So a junior racer wound up on the podium overall. And then I don't have any photos of these podiums, and I don't know if they did photos, but within that pro or the open class, the top three juniors was Tyron, Troy Carner, and Leo Carner. And the top three experts in the overall open was Ivan, Jason Luck, and Aaron Van Nywark, I think is how we say his name. So then there was a separate race for the experts, and they had a podium. So this is the podium for the separate expert
We could do
race.
a show just on this race.
Yeah. So Ivan was the winner. Sandy Wedderburn was second, and John Roderbach was third. And then in the junior, and there was no picture of just the top three. So it's a picture of the main for the juniors. Troy Carner was the winner. Leo Carner was third, brothers, and Dominic Andrews was third. And I don't know who's who in that picture, but
The boy to the far left looks like he's.
yeah, that would be
Looks like he's getting
Tyrone.
intense.
But see, Tyrone wasn't in the top three in juniors, but he was in the pro race.
And you got, I guess it would be your right. I'm trying to think how you would see it.
Oh,
like
you're talking about him in the green shirt?
Yeah, he's
yelling at somebody, isn't he?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
He's either yelling, "Fix my car," or "Put my car on." So in the play fits, the international top three was Ivan, Sandy, and John, because the experts were where the internationals race. So there was 4 podiums, I was told. So are you with me?
Sure.
All right,
trying to figure out their arrows and their lane change.
Yeah, moving along, we go to the JK24 class, and the overall
Same race. Same race.
No, different class.
Yeah, but I mean,
same event.
Same event. Yeah.
From the JK24 class, in the open portion of that class race, 44 entries. The overall top 3 was Peter, Russell Sheldon, and Wahid Fortune. And then the expert in this open classification was Ivan, Gary Hibbert, and Johan van der Mar, I believe is how we say his name. And the junior top 3 was Dominic Andrews, Keegan Sanderson, and Leo Carner. Now, in the expert international JK24 race, the top 3, there was 18 entries. Top 3 was Rob Elise from England, Ivan was second, and Johan was third. Then, the top 3 in the junior race, separate race, 7 entries, 16 and under only. Troy Carner was the winner. Tyron Hudson was third, and Keegan Sanderson was third. So then, like when I was going through pictures last night, again, I don't know which one. I don't know in the black shirt. I don't know if that's Keegan or Tyron. I guess that's Keegan, because the kid in the green shirt, we know he was in with the pros, right? In the play fit. Okay. So when that picture came on Facebook, all I could see was the eye strip. Like, that's all it was showing on his shirt. And I thought, oh, this ought to be good. Like,
yeah,
I strip for hot dogs, or I strip for food, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when I got a bigger picture, it's like he drag races. So, because he's got the Christmas tree on there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So then the final class run for the weekend was the S24 open class. And I don't have a podium picture. So this is the open class, 34 entries. This is the main event. Peter Grubler was the winner. Alex Fro was second, and Wahid Fortune was third. And that they all 3 are pros. They finished the top 3. So then in that open portion, the expert winner would have been Ivan Dennis Sampson, second, Sandy Wedderburn, and third. In the junior portion, Troy Carner, Aiden Mosford, and Keegan Sanderson. They were like the highest 3 juniors in the open category. So then in the separate expert international race, Ivan was the winner, Dennis Sampson second, Rob Lees was third. Again, no podium pictures of just those 3. This is the main event for expert S24. And the same deal with the juniors. There were 6 entries in their race. Troy Carner was the winner, Dominic Andrews second. Leo Carner was third. So, Russell Sheldon, thanks for sending some pictures and spreadsheet, and I had a lot of sorting out and figuring out to do, and hope I got it all right. I think I did. And like I said, within that open class, I don't know if they give out trophies to the highest expert and junior along with the top three. I don't know what, but I thought I would throw that in there. So, because I thought it was really cool in the play fit class, the Tyron was third overall. And he wasn't even in the top three in the separate junior race. You know what I'm saying? So he runs a junior class. He doesn't finish top three. He runs in the pro open class with everybody, 41 entries, and he finishes third overall. I think that was pretty awesome. So that's kind of why I broke it down a little bit. So, but in JK24 and S24, it was all pros in the top three overall. And so. And that was the man of the day, Peter Grobler. He won all three classes. Pretty awesome job. He got some pretty cool prizes. Gold-plated chassis, I think, from JK for one of the wins. And
that's cool.
He got like a brand new play fit. I think rolling car for the play fit deal. So
is he a local?
And I think he also got a power supply from S&K for winning one.
Those are nice.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he made quite a haul. So congrats to Peter. That's a super clean sweep. I mean, 41 guys in one class, 44 in another, and 34 in another. He had a pretty good weekend.
Right. Is he a local racer, or is he a traveler?
I believe he is a house racer there.
Is he? That's good.
I believe so. He's definitely from South Africa. So
gotcha.
But I think he is from there. And if not, Russell will write me and tell me I was wrong. But pretty sure he's a race field regular. I mean, maybe he doesn't live there, but he races there enough that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. As Howie would say, home track advantage.
Yeah.
But the track is super smooth and everything. I don't think there was really a home track advantage. I mean, Rob Lees comes in from the UK and wins. He'd never been there before, I don't think. Dennis Sampson, he has some pretty good finishes for never being there before. So. And some of these other guys, I don't know if they've been there or not, but
right, that's still a good turnout.
Still was a good turnout, and I think it was very competitive racing throughout. Looking at some of the semis and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good deal. So I know that in the S24 class, the top three guys all ran Phoenix motors. I had a picture, and I don't know what. Maybe it's no. I had a picture, and it showed the top three. I think in the Expert S24.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the winner had a Phoenix. Second place had a mini motor, JK Hawk 6 motor, and third place was a Super 16D motor. So it was like three different motors, all three on the podium.
Right. That's like this weekend at the race I was at for Mid-South. I practiced all week, GTP with a built Super 16C.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's just see. I loaded a Phoenix motor in it, and it was like 2/10 quicker. And I was like, I guess I'm running a Phoenix.
There you go. It's time for your cue. Oh, I went too far.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Okay, so this weekend we got FNRS at Race-O-Rama, North Baltimore, Ohio. We've got USCA in action. I've been saying that was last weekend, but it's this weekend. Dallas Slot Cars has Texas Retro. And then we have the Retro Rumble Retro race down at Fast Eddie's. Next weekend, we have the Israel World Starts. A lot of guys are leaving this weekend to go over for practice all next week. So safe travels and good luck to everyone heading to Colby, England. So, again, Israel starts next weekend. The CIS Series starts next weekend at Whiskers. Penn Jersey is at Fast Tracks. The Sunset 240 Enduro will be at Mid-America Naperville. And maybe next week or the week after, because I couldn't find the date when I was looking for it today, is the international race down at St. Martin at Reggie Corum's Raceway. So the weekend of the 12th, we got the Mid-American Hardbody Nats at Naperville, Florida Slot Car Series at Raceway Biz, Penn, Ohio at Fast Tracks, Retro East is in action that weekend. The weekend of the 19th, the Midwest Spec Series kicks off F2000 Lucky Bombs, Yuska, and then is in action, and BRS is at Downriver. And the last weekend in October, and I don't have the Mid-South race. The next Mid-South.
Mid-South is the 12th.
Okay, Mid-South is the 12th.
At Uncle Charlie's in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say it was going to be at Uncle Charlie's. And then the last weekend of October will be OCC at Washington, Gator Retro Racing Region. Dallas Slot Cars will have the Texas two-step retro race. And Penn Jersey is at Trains and Lanes. So that's what's coming up the next 4 or 5 weeks that we'll be talking about. So this is where you're supposed to say, man, that's a big GTP car. So, I went to Mark's My World in Canton, Ohio, and BRS race. And I didn't know it prior to the weekend, but they were having the 8th scale gas RC Nationals in Toledo, Ohio. And I'd always wanted to go up there and watch Rick Davis, who used to be a slot car racer a long time ago, then got into RCs, and he's
right.
A few years back he was racing retro hot and heavy, and then he gave up, or I should say gave up. He quit for some reasons, and he's doing the gas racing thing, and
right.
He races. I mean, he'll drive down to Florida in the wintertime to go down and race his RC cars. So
right.
So of course he was there at the race, and we stopped in because it was on the way home for me, because I went to Uncle Bob's in Toledo on Friday, and we went over to Canton, and then we came back Sunday. So when we got back to Bob's house, we just went over there and stopped at the RC track, which used to be a shopping mall. You go where the shopping mall is nothing but this flat ground. They've tore the shopping mall down, and in the back is this beautiful 8th scale RC road course. And if you go on Facebook and you go on, I think it's like 8th Scale Racers of Toledo, they have a really nice page and lots of pictures. You can check the track out. I mean, I could never get a good camera angle for the track.
Right.
It's so big and all the turns, and you kind of need to be up high. I mean, a drone shot would be the perfect, and I think they have some of those on that page. So, gas races. Okay, so the first race that ran was like touring cars. It was a 30-minute race. And what's cool about gas races, they actually have to pit for fuel. Like they pit every 5 minutes.
Right.
Fill up the tank. Out they go off pit road. I mean, it's just like, it's really cool. It's like the real deal.
Right.
So, of course, there were some guys that lost wheels, and then there was guys that actually changed tires on their pit stops. And so that was cool. And then they raced, I forget what the class is that Rick races. I'm going to call it GTP, but they have a different name for it.
Right.
And there was a group before Rick, and that race was 20 minutes long. So the difference between like the GTP cars and the touring cars, the GTP cars have a bigger engine and a bigger fuel tank. So in the 30-minute race, they have to pit an extra pit stop or 2 because they run the extra 10 minutes.
Right.
So in the GTPs, they only run 20 minutes, and I think they stop like 4 times if they have no problems.
Right.
So I talked to Rick for a while, and I told Rick, I said, well, we're probably going to stick around and watch the start of your race, so we're probably going to head out. So, been good seeing you and talking to you and all that stuff. And
right.
Blah, blah, blah. So we wound up, we watched the start of his race, and he didn't warm his engine up enough, because when he went to take off, it died. So I had to run the car around. He probably lost 3 or 4 laps by the time I got him going. So he qualified 7th, started 7th out of 12, and at the end of the race, he actually finished 5th overall. And I don't know if he was more laps down, or it's hard, unless you stand there and you watch the leader. It's like a real race, when they get in traffic, you don't, you look somewhere else for a while and you come in. It's like, okay, well that should be the leader.
Right.
But if you missed him pitting,
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of hard to hear the PA system. And these guys are all wearing headsets.
Yeah.
So they can, like, pitman says stop for fuel. Come in. And so it's kind of cool. So when I was talking to Rick, new tire technology. Not that we really run. I mean, years ago, we pretty much ran the rubber that we use now, the Wonder Rubber and the natural rubber, that was used in RC cars, both gas and carpet. And over years, they've changed to different compounds, which really don't work for us. So Rick was telling me that last weekend, there's a Japanese tire company, I can't think of the name of it, but what they've been playing with in RC or gas RC in the last 3 or 4 years is instead of using a donut, they're using like a Band-Aid, like a strip of rubber, and they wrap it around the wheel. And then it's laminated, so it's got a seam where it comes together.
Right. Yeah.
And in the years past, the guys they felt that the tire didn't work good because of that seam.
Right.
So they've been playing, and they came with some samples this last weekend, and everybody liked them. And I said, well, why would they get away from donut? And he said, well, because of all the waste. Like, if you want a 1-inch tire, it's bigger than that, but let's say it's 1 inch, and you cut the inside out, that goes in the trash can.
Right.
So if they can skive the sheets thinner,
right,
and then cut out like a Band-Aid, they save a ton of rubber.
Right.
There's less waste. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I could see it working. I could see it working in slot cars, like on low end stuff. Like it could work for most of the stuff we were flexi racing. I don't know about GT12 and Eurosports and open cars, and it probably not even work for Group F cars. I think the tires turn too many RPMs, too many revolutions, rotations, whatever you want to say. I don't know if it would hold up, but I could see it working, especially like ready to run cars, and low end stuff.
Right.
So we'll see what the future shows, but that's a possibility. You could have new tire technology. So we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I can see it working in low end stuff. So they had over 250 entrants at that race. No, I take that back. They had 122 entries, 109 different drivers. So it's kind of cool. And I think this was the first gas race. I thought I'd seen a gas race years and years ago. I can't really remember if I did or not. So this was either my first or second.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool to smell the racing fuel in the air and all that stuff. So that's the end of that. So last week, a few things from last week. Okay, so last week we talked about the Scorpion track that was down at
Anderson.
At Anderson, South Carolina. Eddie Beard and his dad. Can't think of his dad's name. Gary.
Gary.
And they did call the track the Scorpion. And I could not recall it being called the Scorpion.
Right.
I never knew that track to be called the Scorpion. But I couldn't remember what it was called when it was in Atlanta either.
Right.
So before I go on to that, the 2002 Nats at Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah, Electric City Raceway.
Yeah, just a few tidbits, because when I was looking through the article trying to find the name of what we call the track, it was over 250 entries. And that was the first year that the Kelly or Red Fox 16D setup was legal for USRA.
Right.
That was also the year in the amateur Group 10 race of the Mass DQ, where they Yeah, they finished the lane. They took the motors apart.
Yeah.
They took the top three apart, and they were all three illegal. The air gap was too tight.
Yep. I remember Roger Cleveland telling me about that because he finished like 13th. And he was like, before it was all said and done, I was in the top 8.
So then they tore apart 4th place, and it was too tight. And then they tore apart 5th place, it was too tight. 6th place was too tight. And I think 7th and 8th were legal, so they bumped up to 1st and 2nd because the first 6 guys all got DQ.
Right. Yep.
So in the
I even remember Chris Barnes talking about that too. Now
yeah, he was a tech guy. He was a tech.
No, that's what he was saying. He was like, I had to bounce these guys.
And so what was, I guess, kind of funny about that was in the magazine where it shows the top 8, it's like first place on so many laps, second place so many laps, DQ, 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 DQ. Because in the magazine they didn't bump up guys. Well, I don't know how they would have bumped guys up from semis anyway.
Right.
Because semis didn't. Well, they could have. They could have went okay. 5th, 6th, 6th, 7th, 7th to move up. Because they didn't. You don't move up by lap totals. You moved up by top 4 of a semi moved up. It wasn't based on laps.
Yeah, because back then you had to actually race your way into a main.
Yes, you had to race your way in. So I dug out the magazine from 1994 when we raced on that Scorpion down in Atlanta in the hotel. And it was called 135-foot Classic Sidewinder is what that track. I don't remember the classic part. I remember after I thought, I can remember being called Sidewinder.
Right.
But not the Classic Sidewinder. But the magazine said it was called the Classic Sidewinder. So
I remember seeing it set up, and I remember it had one long straightaway, and then it was a 180. And then after that, I couldn't tell you what it did.
Yeah, and I don't even really have a good picture of that track to ever try and show.
Right.
But you did have a long straightaway. It came down in front of the drivers.
Yep.
And then you had like a 45-degree turn that came in. So I guess that'd be 50 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
And you had you went downhill.
Yeah, I know it had like a squiggly in it.
Yeah, it went downhill and then 180, came around and another 90 down what you call the back chute, the short chute.
Yeah, I don't.
Down under the bridge out to a 90, 180, across the top of the bridge to the 90, back onto the straightaway. It wasn't a real difficult track.
I just remember it being long.
Well, 135 feet really isn't that long, but it was long because the way it was laid out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember you walked in the front door of the slot car track. I want to say it was in.
This is at Anderson?
No, this was whenever they had it at Pickens.
Oh, Pickens, okay.
Yeah, they had a track in the front. It was either Pickens or Easley. It's like 1, 2, and one's there. They're
okay.
Because we raced at one. Well, I'll say we raced at it was Easley. We raced at Easley, then we left Easley and went to Pickens.
Okay.
I think. And I remember I was like, "Hey, let's go by the track. I'll peek in the window and see what track we're racing on."
Sure.
So I look in the window and see. I was like, "All right." And I see the track, and I was like, "Okay, it's not very big." So I prepped all my cars for that, and then later on, I think this was back before Facebook and all that. They're like, no, he's got 2 other tracks in the back. I was like, oh, we didn't even race on the track I looked at.
Right.
And then when you walked in, it was I want to say it was an orange track. I don't know if it was an American orange, but it was an orange track. That's what we raced on. And across from that, from one end of the wall to the next, they had the flat track set up. And I remember Roger was with me. Yeah, he met me there. I didn't ride with him. And I know he was like, I'm going to take a car and just go make a couple laps on it. I was like, all right. And I remember looking at it and all that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not even fooling with that.
All right. So then after last week's show, I got 3 messages on YouTube, maybe 4. Okay. So Michael R. commented that I've been to Framingham, Massachusetts, no slot car tracks in Fitchburg, and I suppose slot cars are cheaper than radio control type cars, plus I can use model kits to represent jalopies and stock cars for racing. So that's kind of more of a statement than, but yes, Michael R., slot cars are cheaper than radio control cars.
To a degree.
To a degree. I mean, yeah, it depends on
Yeah.
how much excess you want to take it to. It's like
Right.
anything. But I think if you want to go competitive RC racing, it's a lot more money. I mean, again, like you said, if you want to go flexi car racing, that's cheaper than any RC racing, in my opinion. But if you're going to go Group 7 racing, you might find RC racing cheaper.
So that's like, I raced go-karts, got out of racing go-karts, went into racing RC cars.
Ooh.
Dad was like, why don't we just go back go-kart racing? Because we're spending the same amount of money, you know? I was just like, well, because whenever I
that's
wreck
probably
this,
a toss-up.
you know, I don't get hurt. Because that's why I got out of racing go-karts. I got hurt, you know? And then track had a slot car track, and that's whenever he was like, let's do the slot car stuff.
Okay. So then Mark B commented, whatever happened to the Parma King track from the 1970s? Also, you should interview Joel Montague from Cayman. The oldest slot car company would be Scale Electrics. They're from the 50s. Okay, so Scale Electrics could be the oldest slot car company in the world, but we were kind of talking about the oldest American slot car racing company last weekend. But I appreciate your comment. And so like I said, Scale Electrics might be the oldest continuous, because you could probably go back and say Lionel is probably the oldest slot car company because they made slot cars before Scale Electrics possibly, but they haven't made them for years. So
right.
I would have to say that the oldest continuous slot car producing company in the world is probably Scale Electrics. So we were talking about American companies last weekend, so that was a fair comment. You should interview Joel Montague from Cayman. Would love to interview Joel from Cayman someday, and hopefully maybe we can make that happen. And whatever happened to the Parma King track from the 70s? Well, sad to say, when Ken McDowell lost the lease for the raceway, the track was chopped up and thrown in a dumpster. Or maybe they had a bonfire, but the track was cut up and done away with. I don't know if it was ever put up for sale, and no one bought it. But I do know that the lady that owned the building that the raceway was in came to Ken and basically said, we're not renewing your lease, or maybe it was time to renew. And they were like, nope, time for you to go. So that was the end of the raceway, and Ken went full-time manufacturing down the street on West 130th. So the other two comments, one was from Guy Spalding and the other one was from Billy McCoy, and they both backed up what I said about Castor and Camber.
Yeah, Guy was talking to me.
So Castor is the in and out tilt, and Castor is the back and forth. Because I haven't seen Rob Garland last week, and after the show, and I said, okay, do I have this right? And he goes, yeah, you got it right. So I was right. Maybe we were right. I don't know. We were.
Yeah.
So.
Me and you sometimes get to talking and we're both right. And it's like,
yeah,
we're questioning if we're both right.
I wasn't keeping score like is Rob right versus.
Yeah, 2 hours later, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's say me and Bobby would do that sometimes. We'll get to talking about something and we're both right, but we're doing it two different ways. It's just like,
yep.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to talk about Dave Smrka for a moment, maybe longer in a moment. So, we went to the BRS race, and
see, he had pasta or something because I seen his bowl.
Oh, everybody had pasta. It was probably the best. It was probably the
Did I miss out?
Batch of pasta Mark has made ever or in a long time. Because, I'm going to say a year or two ago, he changed up his recipe a little bit.
I was there because I remember me and you
were
I didn't think
it was off. I didn't think it was as good as the other before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember he had extra sauce or something because he was like, if it's a little dry, you can.
Yeah. So the last few times we've been there, it's been off a little bit. Well, he's back to normal, or found the missing ingredient, because man, it was like I cannot get enough of this. I mean, and he had a new chicken Alfredo.
Changing it up
dish, and then he had I don't know what he called it. I guess it was he had burrito wraps
Gotcha.
And he had a pan of this stuff that was, it was like the burrito, but there was chicken in it, and I think peas
Mm-hmm.
and corn. It was kind of a light tan brown color. It was very, very good. I didn't even put it on. I didn't even put it on a wrap.
I'm
I
surprised
put
you
it in
weren't
a
sending me
bowl.
pictures.
I should have. I didn't think about it.
Yeah,
Put it in
because
a
you know
bowl.
me, that's the first thing I do is I'm taking a picture. Like, yep, it's out.
The first bowl, I just put it in a bowl and I ate it, and it was like, okay, I gotta get more of that. And he's like, oh, we got sour cream for that, and I'm like, yeah, let's put some sour cream on that. And
Right.
that was good. And then the last probably 3 bowls of that I just didn't put nothing on it because it was just so good. So yeah, it was really
New record for the hot dogs or no?
Well, there wasn't very many people there Friday night, so there was the hot
No
dog
hot dog.
record was not in threat. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have a hot dog
No.
Friday or Saturday.
Because I remember for Flexi Palooza, he had hot dogs.
Well, the hot dog record would be the 24-hour race now.
Yeah.
I think it was 250 or something.
I thought we set a new record at the Palooza.
I don't know. We'll have to find
Was
out.
the Palooza before the 24-hour, or was it?
It was after.
So the 24-hour was after the Palooza?
No, 24-hour was in February. Palooza was in.
Because I could have sworn he said we were on pace for a new hot dog record at the Palooza.
Well, let me make a note. We're going to have to
I was
find
going to
out.
say, yeah, because I remember talking to him, because I went up to him because I was going to order a pizza. And he's like, what are you ordering pizza for? I was like, well, I know you don't cook. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm getting ready to put it out now. I was like, what is it? He's like, hot dogs are my normal. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Friday's just hot dog day.
Yeah. So I
And
told Bobby, I was like,
Yeah, Friday he'll have hot dogs. He'll have the hot cheese and the chips and lots of salad, and that's about it. So
I tell people I don't go to a race. I just go there to eat. There just happens to be a race going on.
all right, so Friday, okay, so I went there and I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm definitely gonna race Can-Am, put some effort into that, and then if the F1 cars or a F1 car goes around, then I'll race.
Was it
If I
Uncle
have
Bob's
to,
or was it yours?
it was Uncle Bob's, but if I have to fight it,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put it in a box. Same with flexi cars. If I get one that goes pretty good, fine. But I'm just not working. Like I just wasn't into it. Okay, so get there and the Can-Am cars are going pretty good right off the bat, and they just kept kind of getting better and better, and got to a point where I told Uncle Bob, just go put your car in your box. Like just go put it in the box. Okay, it was like, so good. Just go put it in the box. So I started playing my F1 car, or a F1 car. I figured, okay, because the last 2 times I've been there, Willie, Bud, Eric Shirey, they've all beat me with their wire pan lightweight F1 cars. Got one, but I've never liked the way it's driven. Okay,
Right.
Gave it back to Buddy, changed some stuff. I didn't like it when it came back. I knew I had to run that car to be competitive, so it's like, all right, this car works, or there's potential there.
Right.
We'll race. If there's not, it's going in the box. I'm not even trying the other cars. So I got the car out, and it was going okay. You know, other than it had a big wiggle coming out of the bank, and made a couple of changes, got the wiggle out of the bank, and okay, so let's play with the flexi cars. So I had like 7 flexi cars with Scorpion motors in them, and they all had GTP bodies on them, and so I'm like, okay, I'll just throw those in the box. Same deal. So I cut a set of tires, and I put the first car out there, and okay, I put the second car out there, and it's like, that's pretty good. Put the third car out there, fourth car, So it's kind of like that second car was like, this is going to be my race car.
Right.
And I took the GTP body off. Okay, so Dave's out there, and he's running like low 3.7s. I'm thinking, man, that's pretty fast for those cars. And he says, yeah. He goes, this is my Flexi Palooza car. Right. The only thing I did was change body.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, God, I'm going just a tick slower than you with my GTP body. I'm sure them other bodies are slower.
Right.
I go over and I put my Retro Pro body on there and go over there. Well, them Retro Pro bodies are as fast, if not maybe a tick faster than the GTP bodies.
Yeah.
But they don't pull all the air down the straightaway. Yeah, they don't have a big hook in the back.
Yeah, so you got more straightaway speed.
So I'm like, okay. So I keep running the car, and I pretty soon I'm running like 368, and I'm pretty good. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, that's
Time to go
we were running for GTP for the Palooza.
time to go to the hotel.
Yeah,
But I told myself, I know that the track is going to be more stuck after
Yeah.
we've run Can-Am and F1.
right.
I should get a set of harder tires ready because I had 20s on. I had the same 20s that I ran on LMP at the Flexi Palooza on the car.
Right.
But and here's what's funny: my car that was very good at Flexi Palooza wasn't very good
Right.
this time. Okay, so I threw that back in the box. So I said I need to do two things. I need to take my 37 tooth gear off and probably put a 33 or a 34 on it like Shadow has on his.
Right.
And I need
You know, you probably learned that from, don't you?
who?
Probably me.
Oh.
Yeah, because I
and
know he was like passing by. We were kind of conversating.
So then I'm like, and I need to make a harder set of tires.
Right.
So we got to the track Saturday morning, and you're getting your car ready for tech, and doing all the final stuff, and I never really had time to, because it was such a low turnout. We had A and B mains, so you never had.
Yeah.
We had C mains. I would have had one, 30, 40-minute period, sit there and make a set of tires. So we run Can-Am, then we jump right into F1, and then we had a little break between F1 and Flexis, and I didn't have the time, and I didn't take the time to make a set of tires. So I go over and I get my car, and I go out. I can only go like 384 or something. It is like
tightened up.
It is so stuck. Okay, and
right.
I'm like, oh, I need to change gear, and I need to. But there's like, you know what? I'm just going to send it.
Yeah.
I figured it would probably be kind of a crash fessy race, like.
Right.
No. So qualifying, I wound up, I think, fourth with like a 382. And Shadow was on a pole with a 364 or 362. And Lonnie Batts was in there, and I think Richard T was in there. And they ran the first race, and Tim Burton won in. It was really clean main. It was like amazing that it was that clean. So I started on red, and I ran a couple laps. I thought, okay, I'm gonna give my tires a little tire snip. So I narrowed them a little bit. So we start the race, and I'm loose. Okay, so I'm like, well, I'm going to green. Green's a better lane.
Right.
I'm not going to do any more. Well, now I'm just super stuck on green. So I'm like, okay, I need to narrow my tires. So I narrow my tires for blue, and I'm still a little loose. And I go to purple, and I'm loose. I go to black, and I'm loose. And I keep taking – well, I kind of quit after purple. I'm like, I'm not taking no more off the tires. So I ran black. Black was a little better. And I thought, I'm going to narrow these tires up a little bit more because I'm starting to think, well, what the deal was, I laid my rear spoiler down.
Right.
And then it was better. So I'm like, yep, I am so wide that I'm loose.
Yeah.
Because the car's biting so hard that it just releases. And
right.
So I went over and snipped a whole bunch off the tire, and I was really good on yellow. And then I'm like, I'm taking more off. I took more off for the last heat, and I was like, I ran with the leaders then. I mean, and was just as fast as anybody. And it's like, yep, I only caught this 6 heats earlier or 5 heats.
He might have been in contention.
But you know what? Nobody was. Smirka's car was just unbelievable, and he drove a super good race. I mean, he won by 8 or 9 laps. I mean,
right.
And we had a few moments of ugliness, but the majority of the race was pretty much like that GTP race at Flexi Flats. I mean, we were just rocking and rolling. And it was a deal. If you came off and lost your lap, you wasn't getting it back.
Right.
Because nobody else was falling off. I mean,
I mean, we had a couple of heats in our GTP race in Mid-South like that. Now that we went to 3-minute heats.
Right.
And a lot of guys were like, that seems like we've been going forever. And I was like,
Right.
hey, you'd be surprised what that extra minute does when you're rocking and rolling, you know?
Well, Dave's car was so good. I mean, he could, in the early part of the race, he could in 2 minutes time, he'd come around and lap me once, maybe almost twice.
Right.
I mean, his car was, and like I said, he did a so he was super happy. It was the first time he's won in a long time. And
Oh, yeah. That's good.
it was good to see him win and everything. And
Just like I tell people, it's always good to see someone who hasn't won win.
right.
Especially if it's been a long time.
Right.
You know?
So, and you know what? Maybe if I had tried one of my other cars on Saturday that I didn't like on Friday night, maybe it would have been.
Could have came around. Yeah.
No regrets. Like I said, I just wasn't really feeling it.
I mean, you had fun. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Had fun. Got you some good food.
Yep.
You know? I mean, that's just like that one year we went to Mark's, I think, for an FNRS race, and we were going on like 4 hours of sleep.
Right.
Whenever the week was done, I was like, I sucked racing, but you know what? I still had fun, and I ate a lot of food because Bobby was laughing at me because every time he looked at me, I was eating. I'm like, dude, I'm too tired to fool with these things. I kind of got what I got. I'm just going to eat, and that's what I did.
Right. I think my point is, like, I know my car was slow.
Mm-hmm.
My car could have been faster, but I was just too lazy to.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. So it's me. It was me. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So I just.
Right.
I was happy with fourth.
Yeah.
You know? So
I always take those races as an experience race.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what it was, too.
Or learning. It's like, all right, well, you know, it's like the 4.5-inch race at our Mid-South race. I started playing with tires because my car had a hop in it. You know, and I was just like, I'm just going to see if I can figure it out, I guess, during the race.
Right.
I had tires trued up and just sitting there, so I started trying. It's like, oh, that made it worse. That made it better. Now I'm way, real loose.
Right.
You know?
Well, so anyway, yeah, I was just had a fun time.
Uncle Bob have fun?
He had a blast.
Yeah. He asked where I was at?
No, because he knew you didn't come to that.
Yeah.
I think, and I grossly underestimated how well those bodies actually worked on a flexi car. So,
something new this year.
Yeah. Well, last year we ran like what we call Retro Pro, which is
with the wire chassis.
Winder, yeah.
Yeah.
And this year, Rich T wanted to go to the flexi cars with those bodies. So basically,
it's been a smart move because everyone has those cars. It's just a body.
Sure. Well, I'm sure we'll go to a race or two where we probably won't have enough guys to race.
Right.
Kind of like the same thing we had with angle winders, but we never had 14 angle winders last year or maybe the last 2 years we've run them. So
the first race of the flexi cars was the biggest race or biggest entry for that, I guess you could say, body. Or that
what
class.
I'm saying is the last year or two that we've run retro angle winder,
right?
We never had 14 entries. So we run flexi cars.
Right. Yep.
And we had 14 entries.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
that's good.
I mean, like we go down river, that should be a good class. Probably when we go to HMS, that should be a decent class. There'll be a blast at fast tracks, but I don't know how many guys will go to fast tracks.
It's just like our biggest field this weekend was LMP.
Right.
We had 10.
Yeah, I seen that so I was looking at how many were in the races.
Right. I think our smallest was 4.5-inch NASCAR. I think we had 6.
So, yep. But yeah, it was a fun time. So yeah, I mean, okay. So Uncle Bob, before I went, he's like, "Well, I'm getting a room for Friday night and Saturday night." I'm like, "Why?"
Right.
Like, well, if it's a big turnout, we get done late, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. So we went. I mean, we got done racing at 5 or 5:30. We could have been back to his house by 7 or 7:30 probably.
Yeah, and stay the night there.
We went and stayed the night, and I told him, I said, "We go back to the hotel and watch the race from Richmond."
Yeah.
Well,
you could have probably went to dinner.
Well, the TV station didn't get, or the hotel didn't have
NASCAR.
NBCSN.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, because I
So,
think we went to Logan's Steakhouse right there in Statesville, about 20 minutes down the road. And we watched some of it.
but see, we had junked out on food all day. We weren't hungry.
Yeah.
So we
Probably
just
ready for a
so we went
nap.
back to the hotel, and I said, well, we can't. They don't have the channel, Bob. So he's like, well, we can just watch something. We can just watch something else for a while, and in a couple hours, we'll just go get something to eat and go watch a race. I said, yeah,
Right.
we'll go Roadhouse or something. So we wound up watching some movie on HBO with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez or something.
Right.
It kind of had some funny stuff in it, but so we just lounged around doing that, and I was like, all right, because I was looking on my phone like how many laps they'd run on the race.
Right.
They got down to about 100 laps. I said, hey, if you want to go watch the end of the race, now's the time to go. And
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
well, I just took my pill that makes me go to sleep, and it'll probably kick in about a half hour. And I'm like, all right, no problem. So then I watched something about chasing down Lee Harvey Oswald, and then
That'd be good.
Bugsy Siegel taking him out, the mafia back in the day. So.
You sound like me sometimes. Sometimes I do the same thing. I'll get a room and I could go home, but it's just like,
Yeah. So it was different.
just bring your stuff in the room and just start working on it. I've done that before too.
So no biggie, but that was kind of the weekend. So
Yeah. We raced Friday or practiced Friday. That's what you did, or did Bob, or I guess it would be me. Did you get the picture of me with a big margarita?
no, I see it on Facebook though. Or I see it somewhere.
Yeah, it was Facebook. We
Okay.
went and had Mexican
Yeah, it was
before we went
Facebook.
to the track, and Bobby says from now on he's getting me a big margarita because it's like 8:30.
Now was that place in Moxville?
No, that place was in Morrisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they have any good Mexican places.
I don't
around
think so
Moxville.
because
Yeah,
so we never found it. I mean, we always when we were in Moxville, we wound up going downtown. Moxville,
y'all were
at the
downtown. Yeah, because I think that's where.
yeah, because there was nothing.
Yeah, because like we ate in Morrisville on the way there, and then that night it was like 8:30, and I was kind of like doing this number here. And Bobby was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "I'm pretty good. I kind of know what my cars are doing. I'm pretty happy." And he's like, "Want to go to the room?" And I was like, "If you're ready, let's go." And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I never thought I'd see the day I'd get you out of the track, by 8:30."
Well, all I know is in Moxville, after 10 o'clock on Saturday night, if you're hungry and you're going to eat at Waffle House because that's the only goddamn thing they got.
Yeah, but well, we ended up going to we went for whatever reason. Bobby wanted McDonald's, which kind of surprised me. He wanted chicken nuggets. I was like, all right. Went to McDonald's. I got like a cheeseburger and a chicken nugget. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest.
I'll starve
McDonald's.
for 8 chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I ate that, and we were watching Ridiculousness because that's like the only thing that's we were watching that, and it was probably about 10 o'clock. Or 10, I remember it was 10:30 because I looked at my phone, and he's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And I was like, yeah, me too. And he said, I turned the TV off, cut the light off. He said, I rolled over, and I was out. Normally, I'll stay up, and I'll look on my phone, or I'll watch
logs.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Next morning, and same thing.
What will be the secret word?
Let's see. South Africa.
South Africa. Good choice. So I was actually thinking, let's do something for that.
Yeah, because that was.
I know we've never used that word
of the show.
Huh? I don't even have a list of the words we've used before, and I don't think we've ever repeated. So I know we've never used South Africa.
Nah, I wouldn't mind visiting down there. Looks kind of cool.
It would be cool to go down on a race.
Yeah, that'd be a long flight.
Not as long as Australia.
Yeah. Have you been to Australia?
No.
No.
I just know it's like an 18-hour flight from LA.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine, him and his wife, that's where their honeymoon was in Australia. And he said they were on a plane for like 17 hours. I was like, I
just think, sewer pipe going through the air, 18 hours.
Got to be like goo, goo, goo. I buy a whole row, I sleep. All right.
Yep.
That'd be another interesting topic. Randy.
Well, that'll be an interesting topic in a couple weeks when they get back from there.
Yeah. You need to have him on the show. Get him on the show and just say, all right, what's your Israel report?
Well, hopefully we'll have some live things going on.
I talked to him today. I told him I would call him every day leading up to it, just to kind of
Right.
relax him, kind of get his mind off of it, which he was pretty busy today because he was setting up the Roval at Charlotte for this weekend. So I called him. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm building legs.
Building legs.
I'm like, I need to let you go. And he's like, no. He's like, I called you back. I was like, well, I guess you got a point. So.
Yep. All right, crew. Till next week, episode 112 next week. Thanks for watching number 11.
Next week.
Secret word, South Africa. If you're going racing this weekend, have fun, be safe, good luck, and maybe you'll be on the show next week. We'll be talking about you instead of us. All right. Adios.
Have a good night.